All right, fine. Let me cut across to Idris at this point. I'm going back to Idris Lone, who's there in Srinagar. Idris is right in the heart of all the action which is taking place because across the border between India and Pakistan along the LOC, heavy firing is taking place and Pakistan is targeting civilians across the border at this point. As Idris has mentioned to us earlier, a house has caught fire in Kupwara and a civilian was injured in Poonch. Anything more you've picked up, Idris?
Well, yes, I can see there's a lot of tension now among the local population in Kashmir, especially people who are just coming out on the streets now. We did see their faces and also saw a lot of tension because the airports have been closed, which also is a sign of a worry for the local population in the Kashmir division. We've seen the airlines SpiceJet and Indigo announcing that not only Srinagar but Leh, Jammu, Dehradun and some of the airports in northern part of India have been shut for at least 24 hours due to the condition prevailing in the line of control after the attack that the India carried out on the terror targets across the line of control. But after that, we've seen retaliation coming from the Pakistani side. They've continuously been attacking and breaking the ceasefire from the last 13 days. But today, they've basically shifted from the small arms to the shelling, and not only are they targeting the Indian armed forces, their bunkers in post, but they've started shelling towards the civilian population, and that's going to be a little worrisome for the armed forces posted on the line of control, because they'll have to do two important things: one, retaliate to the Pakistan Army's ceasefire violations, and on the other hand also evacuate the local population which lives very close to the line of control and international border in Jammu and Kashmir. We've seen in the last couple of hours in northern part of Kashmir, in Kupwara district, the civilian houses have been under attack. The shelling is continuously going on. One of the houses has caught fire and completely burned down, while as we also saw how civilian population was attacked in Poonch, where 3 injuries were reported. One of the lady is said to be critical. She's being treated at the hospital, but her condition is said to be critical. So overall, the situation a little tense for the local population, obviously. And as I told you, Shivan, earlier also, that we were already awake because it was around 1 o'clock. The jets started hovering around all around the Srinagar city, and that is the noise of the jets that woke up the whole Srinagar city and the Kashmir division, especially Srinagar and the northern part of Kashmir. That was the time basically when the Indian armed forces were carrying out that attack on the targets, especially on the terror camps that are across the border, and they did seem to move from their bases towards the northern part of the Kashmir Valley, because according to the security agencies, they did not cross the line of control. It was done with precision, and the missiles were fired from the Indian territory and not by crossing over into the Pakistan territory. So that is why we heard a lot of noise and people were awake. And now whoever is coming out on the streets, we do see a lot of tension among the people, because generally people would have thought this is a time when school children are out on the streets going to their schools, and people are out on the streets buying bread in the morning. But right now, whoever is out looks very tense, because they're now opening their phones, televisions, to see the news that there has been escalation on the line of control, and it's still continuing as I speak to you, that the escalation, especially from the Pakistani side, the reaction coming in now in form of ceasefire violations, and not only are they targeting the security forces but the civilian population, and that is why the civilian population has been advised to move to safer places, and they're being evacuated from these forward posts to the safer areas.
Idris, as you mentioned, as people are gradually waking up, and they will definitely wake up to the first news that they're going to see of Operation Sindoor, and the first response which has come from the Pakistani side in the form of heavy artillery fire into the Indian side, targeting civilians as well. At this point, any kind of advisory which the Jammu and Kashmir government has issued in terms of schools? I know you've been tracking this since the wee hours, you've been outside yourself, but anything that you're picking up, are schools open there in the valley, or or are evacuations taking place? Because there is going to be evidently a lot of fear at this point, as the ceasefire violation has taken a completely different turn, because there is heavy shelling taking place into the morning hours now, which we've not seen in the last 12 nights.
Well, Shivan, as I said, there is a lot of tension on the
Yes.
streets. I can see that people seem very tense because of what has happened during the night. At the moment, there has been no official word from the government whether the schools will be open. But it seems because of the airports being shut, the schools definitely will be closed for today. There's 100% chances, likelihood that the government will announce it in some time. We are hoping that it happens soon, because the timing, if we look at it's around 6 o'clock, the
Yes.
schools open around 8 o'clock in the Kashmir division, and it might happen before that. If we talk about the bordering areas already, the people are being evacuated from those areas. So the schools which are very close to the line of control, to the international border in both Jammu as well as in the Kashmir division, will definitely be shut for people, because it's not only the schools, but the civilian population is being moved away from those areas. So there is going to be a lot of tension among the population for the whole day today, because they've started with shutting the airport in Srinagar, and slowly I think the government will come out with the orders of shutting out the educational institutions, especially which are very close to the line of control and international border in the northern part of Kashmir, Kupwara, Baramulla and Handwara, while as in Rajouri, Poonch belt also we might see closure of the educational institutions. But at the moment, there's been no official word on that, but we'll have to wait and watch. But likely, it seems very likely that all the educational institutions might be shut for the day as well.